Everybody, welcome for attending this session. This is session AQ. It's automating PTF maintenance using an open first approach. We've got Jan as the presenter from Broadcom. And what I would ask is any questions, please can you put it in the chat? And what Jan will do is try and answer them at the end. What I might do is we might try and open it up if we can get it to work so they can ask questions as we go. So yeah, so if you've got any questions, I'd encourage you to put it in the chat, please. So Jan, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay, hello, welcome. In the next couple of minutes, I would like to tell you something what we are doing at the Broadcom with regards to, let's say, maintenance automation. So the session is called Automating PTF Maintenance Using an Open Source Approach. As was already mentioned, I'm working at Broadcom as a product owner responsible for software management, automation, Zoe support, and a few more things. But today I'm like wearing a hat, let's say, of the open source tools, and will explain you what we are trying to achieve with regards maintenance automation here. So first, let me quickly describe what we are like hearing from our customers and basically from the whole software management community. Usually what we are hearing is that people are having issues when they are trying to onboard new people into the mainframe, and new people are lacking the mainframe skills that are important for maintenance. When people are retiring, you need to find a replacement, and it's not so easy to train them and explain them all the mainframe, like say, specifics that are not so often visible or used in distributed environments. One of the biggest pinpoints that we are hearing, and I must say it's an internal issue as well, is whole data resolution. I will be talking about this at the end of this session, but internally we have a lot of work to do to make our whole data good enough for humans, and of course also from the automation perspective. With regards to diminishing skills, new people are usually using tools that are not so well established on the mainframe, and makes some or allows some space for issues if you would like to use manually them. But basically everything what is manual is allowing you to make some mistakes, either typos or you just miss something because of you are tired, whatever. That's another case or another message that we are hearing from our customers. And because of the processes and rules in many of our customer environments, they don't have enough time, or but rather say they are not able to deliver maintenance in a pace that we as a vendors are producing the PTFs, or basically bringing in new features to the mainframe, especially when more and more vendors are moving or trying to implement continuous delivery model. It's very difficult to keep the pace with all the PTFs and so on. So some of our customers are saying us, hey, that's great that we are doing this, but we are not able to deliver all those new features to our customers or to our production environments fast enough, right? We are able to do the maintenance once, twice, quarterly, etc. But from the product management perspective, it's not good, because then you are not able to get the feedback for the products. From the security perspective, you might have a software that can be potentially vulnerable, and so on and so on. And that's basically the drivers for us to somehow improve this process. Let me have here just a rhetorical question, whether the environment is similar to this picture. Usually what we are hearing from our customers is that they are doing all the software management related work on some kind of seed system, sandbox, preparation system. It depends how it's called, but the purpose is still the same: to prepare the software instances, the runtime environments on this type of system, and when everything is ready, move it to the production systems using different protocols, different methods, different applications, etc. But basically, you are preparing something here in this environment and then moving to the target systems. Usually those systems are, or usually, of course, they are like ZOS systems, but around this you now have more components. You are probably not using proper remote terminals. Now you are using emulators from your favorite desktop operating system, Windows, like Linux, Mac, whatever work for you. And basically through this, you are like managing all these stuff. You probably have some automation doing at least part of the transfer, or for example, here you have probably receive order enabled on the target on the seed system, and so on and so on. By the way, if you are not using receive order, I'm strongly suggesting you to use it and automatically download PTFs to your local system, to your local, let's say, repository. Nowadays, vendors are like moving from plain or simple PAX files to the portable software instances, which is becoming a standard for software management, but still the standard SMP PAX is applicable or used, and PTFs as well. Okay, so that's our understanding of the production systems or the software management systems that you are using. If you would strongly disagree with what's in this picture, please put it in the comment, and I would like to then talk to you later after the session or somehow offline. But basically, so far nobody objected that this is super wrong and they are doing this totally differently. Sidestep. In the title of the session is written that, or it's named that the session is about open source tools, and Ansible is one of the open source tools that can be used to improve the whole software management process. Why Ansible? First, or better say, what is Ansible? Ansible is a tool that was developed, I don't know, 10, maybe 12 years ago for managing Linux environments, Linux systems. It enables you to build something what is called infrastructure as a code, and it means that everything what you are treating in a way of software management or doing in a way of the software management can be considered as a code. You can describe you can describe your environments in a set of lines of, let's say, commands or some descriptors that then can be used for further work, for executions, variable replacements, etc., etc. Ansible is not trying to replace mainframe automation. In fact, it's off-platform automation. However, recently Red Hat was able to run Ansible directly on the mainframe, but I think that's something what just partially could be used or maybe used for this purpose, for the software management. Ansible is open source, but of course you can get a very good commercial support around Ansible, and it means that you are able to incorporate Ansible into your production systems with all the guarantees that are coming from commercial support and get attention from the vendor whenever you need. What happened in the last few years was that IBM developed their own Ansible collection that allows you to talk to mainframe from Ansible. Before that, it was possible as well, but you needed to do it through, let's say, more complex and more difficult tools, or let's say scenarios where you would be writing SSH scripts or shell scripts and putting their standard Rex or JCL's execution through SS to shell scripts, etc. Very difficult, but it was possible. But IBM did the great work and introduced ZOS Core Collection, which basically allows you to communicate this mainframe from Ansible in a way that it's super easy, super fast, and super effective. I really like the way how they did it. There are some prerequisites. You need to install the automation utilities. You need to have Python SDK available on the mainframe. You need to have SSH. But I believe it's not big deal nowadays to have those components available on the mainframe. And we as a Broadcom recently published also collections for our set of products. We took a slightly different way. Our collections are talking to our products using REST API. But again, from the Ansible perspective, it's standardized and unified, so you don't need to do some tweaks and hacks to be able to talk to mainframe and mainframe products from Ansible. Why Ansible is so popular, especially in the distributed environments. It's super easy to onboard Ansible in your pipelines, in your daily work, and that's applicable to mainframe as well. You don't need to have a deep mainframe knowledge. Of course, you need to understand what dataset is, what job is, JCLs, how to do some basic stuff. But you don't need to be, you don't need to have a basically terminal access. You don't need to remember all the shortcuts, numbers, letters, abbreviations, and so on. You are able to basically in a few days start working on mainframe using Ansible collections, and you don't have or you don't need to bury yourself in tons of books of documentations and samples and so on. So that's the reason why Ansible is getting popularity on the mainframe as well. If you would join Ansible Guild run by IBM, you would see that how many people are already working with Ansible on mainframe and what the different use cases they are trying to cover. It's super nice to see how Ansible is getting popular on mainframe. As I already mentioned, onboarding Ansible doesn't mean that you would throw your all automation already built for mainframe. Probably not. Ansible is here more like an orchestrator. It's something what can help you to drive the automation from different perspective. Good example could he for this bullet point could be, for example, if you are deploying a new software, new library of the software, whatever new feature, either, or it could be maintenance as well, that requires some additional configuration within your network, storage, whatever else. And let's say in the traditional world, you would probably open a ticket for different departments. They have some internal processes, how to handle it, and so on. So basically, the simple task could take weeks instead of minutes. By onboarding Ansible or by using Ansible, you can write a simple script in Ansible. It is called playbooks, and the playbook can run all the actions basically almost in the same time. So first step could be copy the dataset. Second step could be APF authorize that library that was in the dataset or in the member. Next step would be for that I need to reserve a TCP port on the mainframe. Following step would be okay, then I need to open firewall port and so on and so on. And instead of waiting for multiple tasks happening one by different departments, different people with different priorities, you can do it almost in a minute or in the same time. So from that perspective, it means that you are really improving the delivery time of your maintenance or of your products maintenance. You are bringing new features to your users, and at the same time, you are able to distribute fixes, especially security fixes. Security is a big topic nowadays, and one of the issue is that people are not usually deploying maintenance, even if it's like marked as a security stuff, as fast as possible, or there are some delays that are sometimes they are like nature because of how the product is complex and so on. But in many cases, you can simplify the whole process by adopting some kind of automation. In our case here, it's Ansible that would deliver the fixes in a pace that very strongly improve and significantly decrease some potential risks in your software. Ansible is good friend with Git. Technically, you can onboard multiple software versioning systems in the Git in Ansible, but Git is nowadays very popular, and to be honest, I don't know no one who would be using nothing else than Git, so something else than Git. So enables GitOps. What does it mean? If you are at least somehow familiar with, a little familiar with Git and Git practices, then you probably understand. But in general, when you are doing development of the software on a Git, you have some kind of like main branch of the code. Then you have some forks, some branches. When you would like to create a new code, you need to open a pull request that is somehow reviewed. So all these things can be adopted. At the beginning, it might be difficult, but the benefits are huge. By adopting GitOps, you are getting out of the box things like versioning. So you immediately you are able to see what the changes in your automation code happened in the past. You would do the code reviews, so there is less chance that you are doing something what can be at least bad, but in worst case can harm your system. You can immediately and very easily onboard some testing. So whenever you do change, the change is approved, you can run the automation that would test whether this change is really doing what you're expecting or not. Working with the code in a Git requires authentication authorization. So for the auditing purposes, it's immediately visible who did the change, when, who did the code review, so basically authorize it and so on. If something is really bad and wrong, it's super easy to revert the code back to basically to the backout. You can do the backups. You can back or your automation scripts in a different repository and have it as a backup. So all these things that your developer colleagues would know from the Git, you can perform also with the Ansible and basically in the software management. So I already mentioned it. Ansible can act as an orchestrator itself, or it can be part of the bigger picture. I met a customer who used still using Ansible not as a main driver, as an orchestrator from where you would do all the things, but it was just a small piece in the bigger picture. There were some reasons for that, but I believe for like simple use cases and not very specific scenarios, Ansible can act as an orchestrator. So you would be able from the Ansible UI, by the way, it's called open source version AWX, and the paid version is, I think, Ansible Automation Platform or Automation Hub. From that place, you are able to really handle all the automation aspects. You are able to create or schedule the automation. You are able to create a new users there. You are able to prepare the automation in a way that you as an expert, you would be able to do everything there, but then you can have some rights or some personas that would be able just to execute and watch the automation itself. So from that perspective, it's much easier to maintain all the pipelines and all the execution of the automation. So same picture. So I will jump to the next slide. How it fits together. Now I put here, if you would notice, a few more components. First is Ansible control node. I mentioned that it's technically possible to run Ansible on a ZOS as well nowadays, but the whole control node is much more complex, or could be much more complex. Red Hat and Ansible guys are having a lot of components around Ansible itself that would allow you to automate the process from very broad perspective. I don't think it's applicable, at least at the moment, for the mainframe maintenance automation, but in their case, it made sense. If you are managing, I don't know, infrastructure over the globe, over the global networks, like if you are like an internet provider and you have hundreds of thousands of IP nodes, switches, routers, some optical devices, and so on, then you would probably need to slightly different control node than if you would try to maintain systems or set of systems like this. But in general, from the bigger picture, Ansible control nodes lives here, and usually it's running on x86 system. Few more components here, VS Code. I mentioned that Ansible buzzword is, or one of the buzzwords around Ansible is infrastructure as code. And code means you need to write the code. And nowadays, I think the most popular IDE for code management or for developing a code is VS Code. The VS Code can extend its capability by many extensions. Some of them are very useful, some of them slightly less, but it's up to you what is ideal. But one of the extensions that I prefer most is Zoe Explorer. From Zoe Explorer within the VS Code IDE, you are able to see the same things like through the terminal, especially when we are talking about data sets, USS files, jobs, and so on. So you are able to write a code for Ansible and in the same time check what the changes or how the change looks like from the mainframe perspective. So I don't know how the job went and so on. And you can do it still from one interface. You don't need to switch to the terminal. You don't need to go to some kind of libraries and so on. Everything is happening here in your desktop and in the VS Code. Now, I add here a few more components. In fact, only one. Ansible playbooks or roles. I'm talking about Ansible, but in general, you can imagine here basically any type of automation scripts. In your case, it could be even Rex, it could be Python, it could be set of JCLs, whatever. Basically, Ansible can run everything, and it's up to you how you would build your automation. Now the most complex picture, what I'm having here. When you are doing the maintenance, you are applying PTF here and somehow trying to resolve the whole data. And now we are getting to the whole data automation. Usually whole data is a or it should be human-friendly description of the actions you need to take to make the maintenance or the PTF artifacts ready and available for further usage. Sometimes the whole data are empty because it's you don't need to do nothing. That's I don't know how usually it is, but usually you need to at least somehow make the runtime environment, the target systems aware that there is a new version of that library or take some additional actions. So how to do that? Nowadays, you are probably reading the whole data, preparing some set of actions that you would perform on those target systems. In worst case, you would do it manually one by one. So let's imagine that you have here a new I don't know 50 PTFs, and some of them are without whole data, some of them are having the same whole data, some of them are having very unique whole data. It differs. So you need to prepare some kind of like plan of actions that you would execute on those systems. That's okay. It's difficult, but probably it's doable. But now you can have those systems slightly different. They might be one system could be Rakev, second ACF2, and third one top secret. And for the whole data or some of the whole data would be saying, and now you need to define a new profile or new resource in the security system. So for each of them, you would need to do it separately and independently. There is no way to how to run those three commands at the same time here, right? You need to do it one by one because different command would be here, different here, and different here. Plus, you need to still resolve multiple other whole data. And here is a lot of, here is a, I think, good chance that some mistake could happen. Either typos, or you forget that one variable that is here is not applicable here, and you need to put there different one. On this system, you have different naming conventions, so those two data sets may be the same, the HLQs, but here it's different, and so on and so on. So it might be very difficult to prepare the environment or prepare the automation for that. But there is a way how to do it better. The automation, and especially Ansible, Ansible can contain all the nuances of all those systems. Ansible is very powerful in some kind of like inventory management. I'm not saying Ansible is inventory management system, but has a capability to remember lot of things about your systems. So in Ansible, you would model your infrastructure in a way that when you are running some kind of automation, in our case would be execute the security commands, you would run it just once here by some kind of playbook or any type of automation in general. And Ansible then would know that on this system, the command should be tied to top secret, RACF, and ACF2. And you don't need to take care about this here because all the things are already stored here. The data set names and all those things are here. So when you are writing the playbook here, you store it through the Git somewhere on your Git repository. And then when you are running the Ansible automation from this place through web UI, yeah, Ansible already knows how to talk to those systems. As I mentioned, if you would use the ZOS core collection from by IBM, it will talk to mainframe using SSH. If so, for some reason you are managing resources by one of our products, you would probably talk to REST API, or any other product that has any REST API can talk to Ansible, and so on. What would happen next? The automation would go here because of all the source and runtime environment is already prepared here. Move it to the production systems. The move to the production system could be slightly more difficult. You can have here some kind of like artifactory, which is basically how to call it, repository for all artifacts that you are somehow handling. So in our case, it could be a runtime environment for a product. It would be packed in some kind of archive stored here. And from this place, it would be distributed to all target systems. When the distribution already happened, you would run the automation script that you have prepared that would call the security commands and any commands that basically you need to do on a target system to make the maintenance basically available and ready to be used. So different view on the same process. You are doing the installation on the seed system. All things are happening here, regardless whether it's fresh install, upgrade, maintenance, or maybe also some fine tunings, customization. Everything what you are doing centrally is happening here. So as a result of this these actions, you are having the runtime environment ready. Yeah, a software runtime environment is created or modified if it's like some kind of like upgrade. And then there is a whole data automation is extracted. What does it mean? In the future, we believe that should be possible to automate the whole data, or at least majority of whole data, in a way that either would be part of the PTFs directly, or it would be distributed some different channel by some side channel. But still somehow available to be matched. I will be talking about this in next couple of minutes. So what you need to do next? I suppose you would like to review what the automation would do on your system. So you would review it. I am having here, like in a universal way, whole data automation. I'm preferred Ansible, but there is that, as I said, it can be JCL, it can be Rex, it can be shell script, Python, maybe JavaScript, whatever would work in your case is from this perspective, the automation. I already touched it. So as it is code, all the GitOps practices are in place. So whenever you do change in the automation, or whenever you need some approval and so on, the GitOps practices are adopted. When you are happy, the runtime environment is deployed. What does it mean? I think it's super easy and simple. Here you created a runtime environment and you somehow need to move it from the seed system, the source, to the target production systems. And obviously we are trying to automate it. So again, some automation is in place. When I expect that you are trying to be safe. So you are backupping everything what you are doing on the target systems. So in any case, you are able to quickly revert those changes or somehow restore the environment when the process would fail. And now we have on the target systems or the production environment basically everything what is needed. We have the automation, we have here the runtime deployed, and that's everything what we need. On the target systems, you would run the automation, right? So, for example, I have here APF authorization, certificate management, security definitions, and all these things can be automated. So you have here the script ready. And when the time for the changes came, you would just run the automation. And after that, you would have here environment that is basically ready to be, let's say, activated or somehow make it available for usage. You can do it by naming convention. So you just change the started task location or location from started task to the new environment. You can use different practices and different tricks. But basically, in this step, you are like ready to use a new product and also revert changes if really something went wrong. It's super simple to write automation in a way that those changes that we are trying to do here would be revertible. So one script, one automation would do the changes, and then you can have in your backup this basically same script but with reverted features or functionality. So for example, if I'm doing APF here and for some reason something is wrong somewhere else, I can easily revoke the APF, right? Or certificate management. If the certificate for some reason is not working, the new one, I am able still revert to old one, and so on and so on. So automation can be written in a way that basically when you are ready, you would hit a button and then you can just wait for a message from the either Ansible or any other automation platform that the automation is ready. And if something happened, that all these reverted actions happened as well. I don't know whether it's something what you are doing now, but I expect this this whole approach would significantly improve the delivery time for your maintenance, significantly decrease space for any issues like typos or variable values mismatch and all these things. But we are still missing one thing here, and that's the whole data automation scripts. Yeah, whole data automation. So let's look on what we are doing now and when we are. What we did in the Broadcom was that we analyzed whole data for, like I would say, the most important products. True is that we probably missed some, but the intent was to review the actions in the whole data and to review the way how they are written. And the questions for us was, hey, is there something what is unique, or how many of whole data actions are the same and maybe they are just written in a slightly different language or slightly different words and so on. So we did some analysis and we found out that 70 to 80% of our whole data contain steps or actions that are same or very similar. The text in the whole data might be slightly different, but when you are doing the, for example, recycling started task, in one PTF is written recycle, in another one restart, next time is written start and stop, or sorry, vice versa, stop and start, and so on. But from the automation perspective, all these actions are basically the same. You can technically implement them differently. That's okay, but from the automation and from the process perspective, it's really still the same. So this is the next step. Find similarities, right? We were trying to find what's it similar and what's unique. And as I said, so far our understanding is that we are somewhere between 70 to 80% that are automatable because of the whole data are same or very similar. The rest of the whole data are very unique, and usually it's because of the maintenance is more complex than just applying PTF, and it usually spans across multiple products. So in that case, the automation, at least out of the box, it's not so easy. But let's move on, and I will get back to it slightly later. As I mentioned many times, my preferred way for automation is Ansible here. And in Ansible, you are able to write something what is called roles. And it is like you can imagine as a subroutine or some kind of library that can be used in a playbooks. So we wrote roles for whole data actions that we found useful in, or that we found that's automatable in our whole data. Next step was this: implement the Zoe CLI plugin. As a POC, it's done, and we are like now trying to gather feedback, use it internally. There are some customers that are trying to use, and so on. This plugin, and I will show you in next 10 minutes what this plugin does. But basically, it helps you to analyze the whole data. This is the most, I would say, difficult and I must admit also disappointing bullet point on this slide. We tried to somehow automatically match whole data actions with Ansible roles, because usually in the whole data you have written something like, and now restart the application, restart the started task, restart this product, blah, blah, blah. But it's still restart or recycle. So we try to use a machine learning library that is primarily designed for web browsers chats. For example, when you are like, I don't know, shopping, on usually right bottom corner, you are after a few seconds having a new window pop up out and asking, hey, do you need some help with your shopping cart or whatever else with this product? And you can type some questions and if you are lucky, you are getting also reasonable answers. And how it's done, the web library or browser library is able to first triage what you are asking for and navigate the process of finding answers to you much easier than if you would ask, if you would put the question in a general box and then somebody would need to get back to you and all these things. Those libraries are used for this simple human language processing. We found out that the mainframe language is probably not a human-friendly language. So this library and the model that is inbuilt is not helping a lot. And funny thing is that we discussed this with IBM. By the way, that's the next step. And they said, yeah, we are seeing the same thing, and we are using Watson X for that. So on one side, I'm happy that we are not alone having this issue. On the other hand, when I'm playing with ChatGPT, I was really thinking that we can do something similar, but I understand that the computing power of browsers and laptops is not the same as somehow something hidden in a ChatGPT. So next step was socialize this idea with IBM. This is now in progress, and we are together with IBM. We are looking into the way how we would standardize whole data instructions and how we would or actions, and next step would be how to automate them. Because regardless the vendor, if in the whole data is written that you need to do the APF authorization or restart the started task, for all products you would do the same, right? You would really do the things regardless the vendor. So this is what we are working on now. And the last step would be, or after we would have some agreement, what is the ideal approach, we would tell to other vendors as well what we are doing in a way that they would be able to join to this effort and start writing their whole data in the same way. So regardless the vendor, you would be able to use the same automation to simplify maintenance for products regardless the vendor. Now it's time for quick demo. Okay, you should be seeing my screen, and I hope it's big enough. So what I have here, as I mentioned, we wrote a Zoe CLI plugin. The reason why we choose a Zoe CLI was in simple thing, we were lazy. Zoe CLI allow us to use many features and communication channel with the mainframe in a way that we would need to build from the scratch if we would like to do it independently. The reason why we are using it is we are able to check the automation and basically the whole data directly on your mainframe, in your CSIs. But back to the capabilities of this plugin now. We are able to compare whole data. Let's talk about this first. We are able to compare whole data. What it does, it really checks differences in whole data. Basically, we use the similar approach to do the analysis. In fact, we did this in Python, and it was slightly faster. But as I said, we wanted to have some kind of like tool that we can use for discussion with the community, with our customers, and Zoe CLI plugin fits better to that. So we are now able to compare whole data, and I will show you how. Oh, now it will screen because I forget. Yeah, it doesn't screen. Good. So as I mentioned, we are able to check whole data directly from the CSI. We are able to check it from local file and from the spool file. This option is applicable only to Broadcom because we as a Broadcom now distributing whole data, or one of the way how we are now distributing the whole data for our CA recommended service is in a JSON form. So if you are a Broadcom customer, you can go to the Broadcom support portal and download it as a JSON and do some parsing or whatever you want. It's not standardized, so it's our own thing, and it's not mature enough to like promote it massively. But I believe this is one of the way how in the future we can simplify the maintenance, because as whole data actions would be distributed here in the same way, we can distribute standardized automation scripts for each PTF. But that's one of the things that we are now discussing with IBM, what the best approach would be. So let's check the whole data itself. I will not use the CSI, still it's working, but I prefer to use the local file because it's slightly faster. So let's continue with this whole data from local file. And now it will tell me that I need to provide the argument, the location of the whole data. So it's here. And as an example, I will use the whole data for a CA auditor. Okay, what happened? Or maybe I can do this one and first show what's in the file. Basically, in the file is just a dump or SMP output from global zone and for all entries that are there, and we are parsing this output in the plugin. Let's do it. Okay, I will scroll to the top of the screen. Okay. Yeah, here. So what we are doing, we are trying to find what the whole data having the same content. So those, I don't know, let's say 10 PTFs contain exactly the same string, same whole data action. SMP apply, restart of auditor, and that's it. Nothing else, right? The next big group, I don't know, let's say 20, 25, doing this. LLA refresh if required and restart auditor. These two are doing exactly the same, but unfortunately it's written differently. LLA refresh if required and perform an LLA refresh. Right? Restart auditor session, restart auditor. Next is another group of 3, and they are doing LLA refresh if applicable. And they are not talking about the restart auditor, but I would assume that I should restart auditor as well in this case. But it's not written here. Question is it a mistake or is it on purpose? I don't know. I don't know auditor, so I'm not able to say. Next, here we are now having two PTFs or two whole data actions that are probably same. This is showing some simple calculation of how those two PTFs text matched. And let's see what's here. The only difference that I was able to spot here is this slash. But from the some kind of like automation perspective, it would be reported as two different PTFs. But why? It's still just SMP apply. That's something, but probably it's not automated at the target system when we are having just the runtime environment. And then you need to restart the application, in our case, auditor. But the automation will probably say, yeah, there is something different in the whole data action. So we need to treat it separately. And that's applicable to many more, like here. And the only difference is this missing period at the end of the line, right? And I can continue again, slash and off, right? And I must say that's big pain point in our whole data as a Broadcom, that we are not standardized even internally, and now we are talking that we should standardize externally. And I understand, I hear that, and I totally agree. And this is what we are doing now internally. But to be able to do it properly, we are discussing this with IBM, how we should approach it as a community, not just as a one vendor. If I would scroll down, you can see more and more PTFs that are like saying similar things, but the wording is either slightly different or there is a new line that is now treated as a less confident than before. But in general, the issues or the actions are usually still the same, right? SMP apply, restart, and that's it. I understand that the auditor probably is quite simple product, especially if it really just requires restart and LLA refresh. But we can have more complex whole data, for example, this. And to be honest, I don't know whether this is something that can be simply automated by splitting into the multiple steps. That would be universal as well. Or for this particular PTF, we would need to have new and independent automation scripts. And that's the thing that we are now discussing with IBM. We are discussing how to handle actions that are universal and they are not unique at all. Restart started task, for example, LLA refresh, APF authorization, whatever else. And how to distribute this automation. Should it be part of the each PTF? Probably not. Should it be somehow distributed by vendors? Okay, why not? But we need to standardize on how it would be done. Another option is to just put somewhere in the text, in the whole data actions, some kind of identifier that would say this PTF contains these actions that are automatable by this, and that step. And that's another thing to discuss. And for there are many more things that we need to solve, but what I would like to say basically by this whole session is that we as a vendor and together with IBM as a community now actively looking into the way how in future would be possible to automate maintenance in a way that would allow you to basically just hit few buttons, and automation would cover all the process that would basically do the work without any issues or any potential issues like typos or some missing variables and so on and so on. So that's all. I'm now having a message that it's 10 minutes before end of the session. So I'm open for questions, or if you would like to, you can, I believe somewhere at share page, find my email or contact details and send me questions or comments, whatever you want. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you very much. A good session. Anybody got any questions? I'm going to give it a couple of minutes, not minutes, a couple of seconds. You can put it on the chat that you've got a question, that I can unmute you. So I'll give it a couple of seconds, give it 15 or so. You don't have to type in, just put a character in and put it in and I'll unmute you. Okay. I think no, there's no questions, but I would like to make some points. And I do have two questions for you, if I'm allowed to ask questions
Of
as
course.
the person running the show. First of all, for me, it was a very, very good coverage for Ansible. I actually learned an awful lot. I think you were a brave man with the demo that went flawless. So it was fantastic. I was a bit nervous because we didn't discuss the demo, and actually it went very well. The only comment I'd make about your demo is there was no red flashing shooting star. We're all missing the shooting star. In your PowerPoint, you give a sorry, I'm only joking with you. There was no red flashing red star. No, I jest. I'm just making fun of that. Sorry, but on a serious note, I do have some questions. So if somebody has got no experience of Ansible, can you give a sort of a feel how long it would take somebody to come up to speed, and more importantly, how long it would actually take to sort of for an organization to take it on board? Do you have a feel for that?
It depends on what persons you would bring in. If it would be a seasoned mainframer who never left the terminal, then I think it would take some time. But I met recently a lady that came from distributed world, in fact, from scientific organization, and she's very fluent and well versed in Python. And as Ansible is written in Python, there are a lot of similarities. As a newcomer to Ansible, you probably wouldn't spot them. But if you know Python, you would immediately see what's coming from Python. For example, the Ansible playbooks are basically the YAML
Right.
files,
Okay.
right? Yeah. So that lady was able in 10 months create super complex automation pipelines that basically covers everything what I showed you today, except the automated whole data resolution out of the box. The customer using this tooling in 10 months was able to basically create everything from the scripting and the input side or left side of the process to a fully working runtime environment on the right side, just without any specific and any knowledge of mainframe before the girl joined the company. So if you know Ansible, using Python, ZOAU, and Ansible collections for mainframe, you are able to do really great stuff very, very fast without any issues. If you would like to start with Ansible right now, I would suggest you to get familiar with a ZOS core collection made by IBM that is very, very well described and written. And as mainframer, you would probably see what you are trying to do, and the examples in the collection and IBM page would help you to understand what you are doing there. So basic stuff, I believe it's work for days, not for weeks, and complex things are weeks better than months or years.
Okay, that's very helpful. And then my final question is the plugin that you showed on your demo. If somebody was interested in getting that and was actually wanting to take that forward, what would they have to do?
That's a good question. We are having some at Broadcom. We are having something what is called validate portal. So if you are a Broadcom customer, you can immediately go there, send me a message, and I will ask my manager or the product manager for this effort to grant access. If you would like to try it and I am not Broadcom customer, then ping me the email as well, and I can ask internally whether we can share it as a part of the community contribution. That's one of the reasons why we started in the Zoe space with the development, because we would like to make all customers and vendors available to use this tool. That's the purpose why it's written as a Zoe. So if you would like to try it, ping me an email, and I will try to find a way how to get this POC to you.
Okay, fine. And I believe your email is actually on the agenda. They can get you through that.
I hope so. Yes.
So yeah. So then, thank you very much. My final ask to everybody in the audience. We had up to 12 participants, and I guess I kind of failed because I didn't bring it up in the introduction. And it's only one word. It's feedback. So feedback is very important to GSE because it allows us to decide what presentations we do certainly in November, which is coming up, which is the actual one where we all get together, and then obviously next year if we do the virtual conference again. So I'm kind of encouraging you all, if you could all put feedback in. The session code, as we've said earlier, is AQ. There's a code bar there, or you can go on the web page. But I think the easiest way to find the feedback is on Build Your Own Agenda. If you go to the session, it does actually say click to give feedback, and it'll come up for you. So please, can you give some feedback? And that really concludes everything. I'll give the last words to yourself, Jan. Do you have anything else to add?
No, thank you for your attention. Thank you for feedback. If you would decide to submit it, as was mentioned, I already had this session at GS UK last autumn. This is an extended or updated version because we did some progress. And if this session would be accepted this year for physical attendance, then obviously I will update it per the latest development. Thank you.
I'm going to try my best word in Czech, which is ahoy, which I'm hoping means goodbye.
Yes, that was great. Ahoy.
All right.
Okay.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.